Welcome to another episode of That Whiskey Show. I am Chris, and this beautiful lady is my wife, Joan.
Hello.
Tonight we are talking about Tattersall. I'm so glad she had the label turned my way because I had no idea what we were talking about tonight. So, yes, Tattersall. I know nothing about it. She knows lots about it. So what I know is that I am going to turn it over to her to talk about some of the things that she knows about this brand while I sit and kind of get adjusted to the nose, and then we'll tell you how it tastes and what we think about it. So, my love, take it over.
All right. So Tattersall is Minnesota super, really craft distillery. They started with fruit, essential fruit, natural liqueurs. I actually met these guys right when they were starting off. I think the bar that I was at the time, Grain, was the first to menu their stuff, because the owners came in and they were like, hey, you guys got to try this. And I said, yeah, you know what? We have been looking for something like that. So I've been familiar with Tattersall since they started. I'm thinking it was sometime maybe 4 or 5 years ago, probably 4 years ago.
When you were first introduced to this?
No, this is their first rye.
Okay.
The first whiskey that I know of that they have put out. They started with fruit essential liqueurs, like creme de fleur was what we started using. They have a cranberry and apple, all kinds. They have all kinds of stuff. Then they branched out into aquavit, and their aquavit was really, really nice, super accessible. Really, really liked everything they've put out, and was very excited when I saw that they had a rye. And this rye is 100% rye. It is in the Monongahela style, bottled at 100 proof. It's 2 years old.
This is 100 proof?
It is.
Wow, the nose is so smooth on it.
I'm excited to try this. Oh, it's rich though.
Yeah, I can't believe it's 100 proof. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you on that, but just when you said 100 proof, that kind of shocked me.
I'm pretty sure it could be 90. No, 100.
Wow.
Yep. So, very excited also that it's a Monongahela style, and they're using 15% malted barley. So only one ingredient in the mash bill. But 15% of the rye is malted. And that rye is from a farm 50 miles away from the distillery.
Oh, that's cool.
And the barrels are coopered, also in Minnesota.
Gotcha.
They're aging it for no less than 2 years in New American White Oak. And they've got the standard 53-gallon barrels, and also a little smaller 30 gallons. So it's going to have hopefully a little more than 2 years a barrel on it.
Chill filtered?
No chill filter on this one. So pretty much as a hoity-toity, crafty person, really pretty much everything you can ask for in a rye.
Gotcha. That's a bold statement.
And they recently had a bit of a labor dispute as well, where it was looking to get pretty onerous, pretty ugly, and then they just kind of said, you know what? The last I heard, it was a couple weeks ago, and they put out a statement that it was their choice whether they were going to unionize, and the management and ownership would be fine whatever way it went.
Gotcha. All right.
Seems pretty solid all the way around. When that labor dispute happened, I did have a couple, oh, this looks like it's getting ugly, but I followed it for a couple weeks, and the last I heard looks pretty good. So let's just judge the juice.
Right.
All right. So yeah, I mean, 100% rye. It's not a terribly complex nose, but you get that rye bread and I'm excited. I'm feeling like this is just going to be a shiny rye.
I also, is it just me, or am I getting like some apricot in there?
Could very well be.
Barrels are magic. The nose on this is absolutely fantastic, and as I said, I kind of had to stop her when she said that it was 100 proof, because usually at 100 proof, you're kind of getting a little ethanol sting in the nose if you really go after it, and there's really none of that to speak of in this nose at all. Well, like I said, beautiful color. I hope the camera's picking that up, because it is an absolute gorgeous color on this whiskey. Nice legs. It really runs down that glass.
And I just get the most fresh baked, yeasty, malty bread.
Right, and being 100% rye, I can already tell you I will start dripping sweat after about 3 sips of it, because the rye does that to me. So, but
you definitely get the 100 proof in the palate. Not in a bad way.
No, not in a bad way.
It
you
spreads
do.
nicely.
You do.
It's not like a cough heat.
No.
It's a there it is. There's that 100 proof.
Yes, but it is a very nice. But it's a dry heat. For those of you who have watched Aliens, I hope you got that. Anyways, it does. It has a very even and smooth heat to it as it goes down. It doesn't just all of a sudden punch you in the face, go, here's a bunch of gasoline for you. I feel the flavor's great.
It is. So when you say Monongahela style rye, you kind of get this rustic thing, like this is the kind of thing that George Washington used to make. It's most. I looked in a lot of places for a definitive definition of Monongahela style rye. Everybody uses that term, and I've always used it just to mean 85% or higher rye, usually 100% rye, with like a rustic, spicy edge, and from Pennsylvania or thereabouts. So you can't call it Monongahela rye if it is not from the Monongahela River Valley in Pennsylvania, I believe. But I could not find any definitive answer on exactly what Monongahela rye is, since apparently the last two are no longer Monongahela Rittenhouse and Old Overholt have been sold and are no longer made in Pennsylvania.
So, as part of tonight's episode, a drinking game is you have to rewind, rewatch, and you have to take a sip of whiskey every time my wife says
Monongahela.
And let's see how long you last. A really nice flavor to it, absolutely. Good heat to it, but not offensive burn. I mean, this is definitely a rye that you could introduce a newbie to, and that they would not run away in fear.
Which is not what I expected from this.
Right. As you can see, the sweat has kicked in. It is also 108 heat index here in the fabulous state of Nebraska right now. So it's hot and humid, but the rye does it to me every time. Warm. It does it to me every time. And as my mother would say, you probably should stop drinking that because you must have an allergy to it. But allergies can go away.
You know, most people flush when they have a sip of red wine. That doesn't mean they should never drink it again.
No. This is very tasty. Now, for my part, I can't necessarily pull out any overpowering distinct flavor. It's just a very nice flavor. It's a very even flavor on the palate. And I kind of like that I'm not able to just pull one thing out over the others. It's a real nice just mesh of flavors in there, with definitely getting a hint of that barrel.
Oh yeah, I was just going to mention the resins from the tree. It's almost like like they didn't use a seasoned wood, like the resins are still really in there, like they
Right.
maybe didn't use a super high char, that there's not a lot of charcoal to take that out of there. So to me, it's definitely on the resiny side, which is nice.
Right.
It kind of has like an amber type flavor and nose.
Yeah. Very good, though. Very good.
It's kind of almost going into like the ambery perfume.
And for only 2 years aged, that's pretty impressive.
Though they use 30-gallon barrels too, so
Sure,
that's gonna
but still, that's
gonna
pretty
improve
impressive.
the barrel contact with
Right.
the liquid.
But yeah, I'd have to say I'm pretty impressed with the Tattersall.
I'm getting like
And
almost
she
a popcorny vibe too.
she-
It's nice. It's fun. A sweet. The nose is kind of getting sweeter now.
I'm gonna do.
I really am impressed with this. It's so welcoming for being 100 proof and 100% rye. I don't think you even got a drop in there, did you?
I don't know.
There you go. That's. I was expecting to be like, this is my new go-to old-fashioned rye. This is what I'm going to cocktail old-fashions with, but... And I will. I absolutely will make an old-fashioned with this, but it's really good on its own.
Yeah, and the couple of waters, you hit it with a little bit of water, and it really opens up the fruit in the nose for sure. You definitely get way more of the fruit from just a couple hits of water in it.
Yeah, I really like that. I
Almost becomes very desserty after a couple hits of water. I mean, it already had that hint of the dessert to it without it, but once you get the water in it, it really opens up those dessert notes. Yeah, huge. That it's almost like butterscotch ice cream. Maybe not butterscotch. What's the one of butter pecan?
Oh.
Butter pecan.
Oh, like I'm kind of almost getting a little black walnut in there.
Yeah.
The nuttiness is definitely there.
So that it really a couple drops of water take it to a different level.
And on the finish, I got the weirdest, like almost like a powdery perfume, but not in a bad way. Not like a ugh, but like a, oh, that's unique. Like it was very dry on the finish.
Gotcha.
And also kind of reminded me, not baby powder, just, I don't know, if you do perfumes, like they'll say a powdery scent, and that's the only way I know how to describe this.
Right.
But it's really, really unique. And I paid $40, and I saw it online a lot of places about $35. And I think MSRP is $35.
Totally worth it for
So
that price.
I'm going to say yay, yay, and yay on this.
Agreed.
It checks every box on your like rye purist.
Agreed. And I don't go out of my way to search down the rye. As I've said, it's not necessarily my thing, but I do very much like this, and I really don't truly drink it that much because it does just bring on the rye sweats like mad. So, and my wife, for whatever reason, keeps wanting to make sure that every whiskey we do on this channel is rye. So,
Like rye.
Maybe we'll get a corn one in there soon, so I don't overheat. But I agree with her 100%. The Tattersall is a win across the board. Very delicious, lots of good flavors and notes, excellent color, excellent price point for what you're getting, and definitely something that I feel would recommend if you're trying to get someone into ryes and have a little bit higher proof. This is a good one to do it with.
I wouldn't say that this is like representative of rye as a category, though. Even though
right.
it is absolutely typical mash bill wise, production wise, with what we would have had at the beginning of this country. It's very, very resinous and ambery and powdery, perfumey in a way that I really like. But if you have had those tasting notes, I would stay away from this because it is strongly and it's sweet in the nose and dry on the finish. So, but if you don't like resinous, ambery, perfumey flavors, to maybe skip this one. But I love it.
Yeah,
I actually
so
think it's
weird how we went
fantastic.
from check marks across the board to don't try it.
If you don't like amber,
Man.
if you don't like amber as a scent, if you hate it in perfume.
Anywho. Yes, we are married. And actually, on a side note, this month was actually 18 years together married. So
20 years together.
20 years together, 18 married. So that's pretty cool. As you can see, we like to have a lot of fun on this show. We have some good banter, and because it really is just fun for us. I've said it on every episode, and I truly mean it. We don't care if 10 people or 10,000 people watch this. This is just fun time for her and I to spend together and to do something that we very much enjoy. So, as always, thank you so much for checking out our channel. We do truly appreciate it. And one last note, as I've said several times, let's be kind to one another. Very important right now. Everyone, let's be kind. Here's to you.